Today's show is sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. Join up to support the electrification of transport and get the help you need to finance your own EV or clean energy future. And by the 8th Annual Chicago Chesed Fund Tesla Raffle. Head to the link below and use the code TRANSPORTEVOLVED to get $25 off 2 tickets. Enter before July 11th to get a chance to win a bonus bottle of Tesla tequila. And by Fully Charged Live USA. Come down to San Diego on September 10th and 11th to take part in the live extravaganza of EV fun. Get 15% off your tickets for this year's show by following the link below and using TE22 at checkout. It'll be the best way to start off your autumn. We'll be there, will you? Welcome back to TEN or Transport Evolved News. Thanks for joining in and for clicking that subscribe bell. It's the start of July, which means it's time for the usual quarter-end delivery estimates from Tesla. And just like many Tesla fans, Wall Street was nervously watching and waiting for those figures to drop. That's because during Q2, Tesla's Giga Shanghai facility spent significant time in a closed-loop phase due to COVID-19, meaning production output wasn't as high as Tesla had planned. Add in continuing parts shortages, and it's been quite the second quarter for the company. Because it takes a good 6 to 8 hours to produce this video before publishing, we don't have the figures yet from Tesla, but if they do appear while we're editing, we'll throw them up right now on the screen. I should remind you that while Tesla's immediate end-of-quarter production and delivery figures are usually pretty accurate, official figures won't be made available until Tesla's quarterly report is published later this month. When automakers bring a new vehicle to market, there's a fair amount of show and tell to get people excited. Things like teaser images ahead of a flashy reveal event. For Chevrolet, its reveal of the Silverado EV followed this well-trodden playbook. Sneak peeks were given, a reveal took place, and it even invited members of the media to see the truck up close and personal. I should know because I was one of those people invited. But since this, and a star-studded ad during the Super Bowl, Chevy has been busy turning its handmade prototypes into something nearer to production intent vehicles. This week, it teased how far it's come in that process, publishing a 13-second clip of the Silverado EV going through preliminary engineering testing at the Milford Proving Ground. And I'm going to play it here because you might blink and miss it. Yep, that is the entire clip. Look, while it's good to see the truck on its way to pre-production validation, Chevrolet is developing a nasty habit of sharing tiny, whiny snippets that really do not serve that much purpose. Come on, Chevy. Other automakers give us a whole lot more to go on. Talking about vehicles coming to market in the near future, Hyundai finally unveiled its IONIQ 6 sedan this week by holding simultaneous reveal events around the globe. The IONIQ 6 is being called a, quote, electrified streamliner, end quote, by the automaker. But at this channel, we think it's better to call it Hyundai's answer to the Porsche Taycan and the Lucid Air sedan. In fact, the vehicle's drag coefficient of 0.21 matches that of the Lucid Air. There's a lot of sweeping lines in this vehicle, and while Hyundai hasn't given us a whole lot of specification to go on, they will be released closer to its 2023 launch date, we can make some pretty accurate predictions as it's based on the same eGMP platform as the Hyundai IONIQ 5, Kia EV6 and Genesis GV60. Being a sleek sedan rather than a boxy SUV should give it the upper edge on range, and so we're expecting at least 300 miles, 482 kilometers per charge. When we know more, we will of course share. Right now, Tesla is the undisputed king of electric vehicles when it comes to sheer volumes of vehicles sold per year. In fact, in many countries, you can add up all of the market share of all of Tesla's rivals and still not beat Tesla's market share. Yet, veteran auto industry analyst John Murphy from Bank of America Merril Lynch said this week in his annual Car Wars market forecast that Tesla's market share will precipitously fall in the coming years as mainstream automakers play catch-up. With more than 135 new electric models due to enter the market globally by 2025, Murphy warned that the EV marketplace vacuum that Tesla has occupied for the last decade is quickly quickly being filled up by rivals. While he doesn't appear to address issues of supply chains, something Tesla is most certainly ahead on and other companies are still struggling with, Murphy said Tesla's market share will fall to 11% by 2025, while companies like Ford and GM are expected to grow to more than 15% each. After several years operating internally with staff as passengers, first with a driver supervising and then last year with remote driver supervision, Cruise, a wholly owned subsidiary of General Motors, has taken its first paying customers on trips around San Francisco. Recently receiving a driverless deployment permit from the California Public Utilities Commission, Cruise is the first and only company to get permission to operate a truly public ride-hail service in a major US city. Unlike programs operated by Waymo in Arizona, which are both geographically limited and for downtown Phoenix require you to register to be a specialist trusted tester, Cruise's system now lets literally anyone sign up using the Cruise app, hail themselves a car and pay for their ride. Since Cruise has given each of its vehicles a name written on their hoods, there shouldn't be any confusion identifying which car is your ride. That said, on Tuesday last week, 7 Cruise vehicles blocked an intersection for apparently no reason. So take from that what you will. The entire auto industry has been hit hard in recent years by the COVID-caused microprocessor and parts shortage. But according to Volkswagen CEO Dr. Herbert Diess, that is finally easing. Talking at a works meeting this week, the company CEO said that Volkswagen is set up for a strong second half of this year, with production finally ramping back as bottlenecks ease around the world. What's more, as production ramps up again for 2 of Volkswagen's key markets, China and Germany, Diess predicted that Volkswagen should be able to close the EV market gap Tesla currently has on the rest of the automotive industry, telling employees that Elon Musk has to, quote, ramp up 2 highly complex factories in Austin and Grünheide at the same time, as well as expand production in Shanghai, end quote. Diess said, quote, that's going to take strength out of him, end quote. In other words, Volkswagen seems to think it has the upper hand on Tesla, or at least can start to make a move in that direction. I am pretty sure, though, that Elon Musk disagrees. When the European Union announced a plan to ban all new internal combustion engine vehicle sales by 2035, we told you that not all member countries agreed to that ban. This week, we learned which countries wanted to push that ban back by 5 years: Italy, Portugal, Slovakia, Bulgaria and Romania. They all wanted a more gradual transition and stated that charging infrastructure was a concern to achieving the original proposals. Nevertheless, the ban is still going ahead as planned, and a few days later, the European Council of Environmental Ministers agreed to raise the targets for reducing CO2 emissions for new cars and vans by 2030 to 55% instead of the previously set 50%. That said, the Council also left a back door to its complete ICE vehicle ban, namely that a vehicle powered solely by e-fuels, that's supposedly carbon-neutral petroleum alternatives, may still be sold after 2035. For just under a year now, Rivian has been slowly increasing production of the R1T and R1S at its production facility in Normal, Illinois. And while Rivian's delivery figure estimates have been adjusted downward several times due to the ongoing microprocessor shortage, catching sight of a Rivian in most major US cities is now becoming fairly common. But for Rivian reservation holders north of the 49th in Canada, the wait time to get behind the wheel has just gotten quite a lot longer. We're hearing that some of Rivian's first Canadian customers, who'd originally hoped to get their truck last year, are now being told that they may not get their trucks until the middle of next year. Having waited a year for my own new vehicle, I sympathise with everyone whose order is being delayed. But given the majority of people I know who ordered a Rivian and also ordered an F150 Lightning and also a Cybertruck just to see which one would arrive first, well, it might not be good for Rivian if it delays much longer. Stellantis, one of the world's largest automakers thanks to the merging of Fiat Chrysler with PSA, should be an automaker with a massive amount of skin in the EV game. But as I'm sure you'll know if you're a regular viewer, Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares has stated time and time again that going electric will have a negative impact on the automotive industry, with most of his comments on the subject revolving around the financial implications of doing so. This week, another one of the Stellantis' senior management team, this time. Chief Manufacturing Officer Arnaud Deboeuf stated that automotive industry will quote-unquote be doomed if the EU moves ahead with its plan to ban new internal combustion engine sales by 2035. Unless, he said, that is, electric cars get cheaper. Given that everything gets more affordable when you increase economies of scale, you'd hope that one of the giants of the automotive industry like Stellantis would have enough purchasing power to set up some pretty sweet deals, as Volkswagen and others have done. But maybe it's just too late to the party. Electrify America, the charging network whose foundation was paid for by fines issued against Volkswagen after it was discovered 7 years ago that Volkswagen was installing emissions cheat devices in its diesel vehicles, has just announced a major cash injection. The money, $450 million in total, comes jointly from Volkswagen and Siemens. The latter, or rather its financing arm, Siemens Financial Services, became a new shareholder in EA when it purchased a minority shareholding from Volkswagen for an undisclosed amount. While some news outlets are stating that Volkswagen sold off EA completely, it did only sell off a portion of its shareholding for what some outlets are saying is a figure somewhere in the low hundreds of millions of dollars. Siemens becomes EA's first external investor and also happens to make DC quick charging stations. This means, I'd guess, that in addition to a seat on EA's board, we are going to see some more Siemens-branded EA charging stations in the near future. Short shorts are on their way, but first, how would you like to win a Tesla of your choice or $50,000 in cash? Well, make sure you pay attention because I'm about to tell you about the 8th annual Tesla raffle from the Chicago Chesed Fund. The Chicago Chesed Fund is a non-profit organization dedicated to helping families in crisis and has huge numbers of programs and services in operation. In a world where COVID-19 is still ravaging communities, its work has never been more important, and throughout the last few years, the Chicago-based charity has been helping people stay safe, fed, employed, and healthy. We've been promoting this raffle for many years on the channel, and this year, the raffle has something special to share with you. In addition to the chance to win a Tesla or cash, if you buy your tickets before July 11th, 2022, you will automatically be added into a second prize draw for the chance to win a bottle of Tesla tequila for no extra charge. So find out more about the program or buy tickets by heading to ccfraffle.com, and you can get 2 tickets for $175 by using the promo code TRANSPORTEVOLVED. That's normally $200. There's a total of 9,999 tickets available, and the draw takes place on Labor Day. So go and grab your tickets right now if you're feeling lucky. And now it's time for Short Shorts. The Ford F-150 Lightning has received its very first recall notice after it was discovered that the truck's tyre pressure monitoring system may fail to notify owners of a low tyre pressure condition due to a coding error. An OTA update will be coming within the month. The US Supreme Court has ruled this week that the US Environmental Protection Agency does not have broad authority to regulate greenhouse gas emissions from power plants. This means that the agency's power to penalise heavy polluters is severely limited. Tesla delivered a set of pre-assembled superchargers to the WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca in California this week. And rather than deliver them with any old diesel-powered tractor unit, Tesla sent one of its working prototype Tesla semis to do the delivery work. Good job. Earlier this year, we told you about Aqua Power, a specialist in shoreside marine DC quick charging. And this week, it installed and commissioned its first electric boat charging station in the US. It's located in the Tahoe City Marina. The units can charge boats at up to 150 kilowatts. Tesla has begun to ramp up production at Giga Austin, where it hopes to reach a vehicle output in the order of between 2,000 and 5,000 vehicles per week, depending on which source you listen to. Tesla is also adding a second Model Y variant to its Austin production line. A custom-built all-electric fan car from McMurty Automotive has set a brand new record at the Goodwood Festival of Speed Hill Climb. At 39.08 seconds, the vehicle not only sounded amazing, but its fan was able to keep the car just glued to the road at every single turn. Just over a year since its debut in Los Angeles, Sondos has begun delivering its Metacycle to customers in the US. While the bike was delayed from its original launch schedule, the unique two-wheeler is undercutting the competition when it comes to both price and performance. Polestar has officially completed its listing on the Nasdaq stock market in the US after successfully completing a reverse merger with blank check company Gores Guggenheim. It's the first EV company born out of a legacy automaker to go onto the stock market using this method. MG has revealed details about a new EV which it will call the MG4 in Europe, but it's actually a rebadged version of the MG Mulan EV. Similar in size to the Volkswagen ID.3, it's a rear-wheel drive hatchback that's built to both offer value for money as well as extreme driving fun. Plug and Charge, the technology that lets you just rock up at a charging station with a CCS-compatible car and initiate charging without any smartphone apps or smart cards, has just been given its official logo. In keeping with the current trend, it's a typographically influenced one. Tesla has filed paperwork to expand its Giga Austin facility in Texas to cover a new 500,000 square foot location adjacent to existing buildings. The permit filed by Tesla shows a building that it refers to as quote-unquote GA, which means General Assembly. Nothing else is known. Volvo announced this week it will establish a new manufacturing plant in Europe specifically for EVs. The facility, which will be built at a cost of around €1.2 billion, will be located in Slovakia, and it will join 2 other European facilities already in operation. Reporting from Korea suggests that Hyundai has decided to hold off the launch of its second-generation NEXO fuel cell SUV. The reason, according to sources close to the automaker, is that the company is suffering issues developing the required fuel cell stacks the car needs. British Volt has signed a deal with Korean firm Poscho Chemical to supply it with the materials it needs to produce both cathode and anode constructions for automotive-grade lithium-ion battery packs. British Volt, backed by Glencore, aims to open its first gigafactory in the UK next year. Electric vehicle off-road leisure specialist Volcon has officially launched its first 4-wheel electric UTV. Called the Stag, it's capable of highway speeds, has a 42 kilowatt-hour battery pack, and will most likely be purchased by off-road enthusiasts and hunters. As the US economy starts to look uncertain, LG Energy is rumoured to be second-guessing a previous commitment it made to establish a new electric vehicle battery production facility in Arizona, USA. While it's not off the table completely, rumours are that the facility may be smaller than originally promised. Lucid Motors made its debut at the Goodwood Festival of Speed last weekend with a US spec Lucid Air heading up the iconic hill climb. With a time in the 50s, it was the fastest non-modified road-legal production car there and was piloted by Ben Collins. You might know him as the Stig. The latest US Energy and Employment Jobs Report, USEER, has confirmed that, despite COVID and uncertain economic conditions, the US clean energy job market grew in 2021, while the fossil fuel industry job market shrank. It's going the right way. The first DC quick charging stations on Rivian's Adventure Charge network have gone live. While it's expected the network will welcome other cars at a premium in the future, for now, it appears the DC quick charging stations are intended to just be used by Rivian customers. Hot on the heels of securing a deal last week for electric motors, Aptera has confirmed that it signed a multi-million-dollar deal with EV Energy as suppliers of the 21700 form factor NMC 811 cylindrical cells it will use in its solar electric car. Tesla is clamping down on staff who aren't working in any of its offices by monitoring how often they swipe into and out of buildings. It appears even those who are on planned vacation are getting automated messages from Tesla berating them for not being at work. On last week's show, we said that XPeng had halted all pre-orders and reservations for its P5 electric sedan. But this week, rumours started to fly that the P5 is going to be completely withdrawn from the European market. These rumours haven't been corroborated yet, so watch this space. Mercedes-Benz has announced a massive €2 billion investment into its European production lines as it shifts attention towards 6 all-electric Mercedes-Benz EQ models for the future. The company says it hopes to be an all-electric luxury automaker by the end of this decade. Korean battery firm Samsung SDI has become the latest battery specialist to announce a new pilot production facility for producing 4680 form factor lithium-ion cells. Interestingly, it's said to be developing 2 different versions of the cell, one with a slightly shorter length. The city of Los Angeles has confirmed that it's working with Bethlehem in the state of New York and Comox Valley Regional District BC, Canada, to design new policies that will essentially stop new fossil fuel filling stations from being built in the city. city. It could help LA go ICE car free. Drako Motors is teasing a new electric vehicle in the form of a hyper-powerful SUV that it claims will have 2,000 horsepower, all-electric drivetrain and do a sub-2-second stoplight sprint. We don't have any other details, but when we have them, we will share. If you purchased a brand new 2020, 2021 or 2022 model year Bolt EV or Bolt EUV in the last 12 months before GM announced the price cut to the 2023 model year Bolt EV and Bolt EUV, you are now eligible for a rebate to price match to the current model year cars. GM will be reaching out to affected customers with the good news. Tesla has officially closed the San Mateo office where some 200 plus employees worked as data labelers for Tesla's autopilot system. It's not clear why the layoffs occurred, but it will presumably affect how many people are working to improve Tesla's vision software recognition. The White House has issued a statement praising the $700 million or thereabouts in private investment that's being sent towards growing EV charging in the US. But in typical government fashion, the White House is taking most of the credit for this news. After what feels like months of teasing, Ducati has finally revealed the all-electric motorcycle design for the next season of the FIM MotoE Championship. Much like Formula E has one stock car design, Ducati will produce a stock motorcycle that then teams will be free to customise and tweak. And those are your short shorts. There will be more next week. One nice thing about all this modern vehicle technology is that it's possible for automakers to add new functionality to a vehicle or push bug fixes without you ever needing to take your vehicle to a dealership. And as any Tesla owner will tell you, that capability is very pleasant indeed, as long as the upgrades aren't ones that move things around so you don't know where everything is. Of course, most automakers today are now using OTA in their new cars, and the Hummer EV is no exception. And this week, owners of the Edition 1 variant of the monster pickup were told they'd be getting a new update to add the promised extract mode. That's a super high suspension setting that will give trucks a massive 15.9 inches or 404 millimeters of total ground clearance. It was promised at the vehicle's unveiling, but it hadn't made it into production vehicles yet. For those who want to take their trucks off-road, this feature is going to make even the toughest terrain more accessible and probably more fun too. And finally, the former NUMMI facility, now known as Tesla Fremont, is no stranger to allegations of racism among its workforce, both before and after Tesla took it over. Earlier this year, we covered one case brought against Tesla by former Black and/or African-American employees, alleging some truly abhorrent behaviour at the facility, ranging from verbal abuse to other severe forms of harassment. Earlier this week, a judge ordered a new trial take place involving a former elevator operator's discrimination lawsuit against Tesla. Then on Thursday, 15 people, current and former workers combined, all of whom are black, say that they were made the subject of racist slurs while at Tesla's facility. One employee alleges they were even demoted after missing work due to COVID-19, while others list slurs that I'm not going to repeat here. Neither Tesla nor any of its employees have made public comment on this new court case, and we hope for all parties involved that the trial is fair and just based on testimony given and evidence available. And on that note, we are done for the day. Before I go, a huge thank you to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring today's show. They've been advocating for electric vehicles since 1967, and they firmly believe that our future depends on us making the switch to clean green electric cars today. The EVA can help you find someone near to you that can help you make the switch to electric. It can help you become an EV educator, and it can point you in the direction of monthly meetups for like-minded EV fans. And if you become a member, you'll gain access to a clean energy and EV loan program set up between the EVA and the Colorado Clean Energy Credit Union. Find out more by heading to electricauto.org. And of course, thanks again to the 8th annual Chicago Chesed Fund Tesla raffle for sponsoring today's show. Just head to the link below and use the code TRANSPORTEVOLVED to get $25 off 2 tickets. Enter before July 7th and you will gain a chance to win a bottle of Tesla tequila to boot. And don't forget to hit subscribe and the bell for this channel, as well as that one for our second channel, Transport Evolved Take 2. And if you're not already a channel member or a Patreon supporter, please do consider becoming one. Or you can send us a tip through Ko-fi or check out our cool swag store. And it really doesn't matter how big your donation is on Patreon. We really don't mind if you're able to donate $1 or $100 a month. We're just glad that you're part of the Patreon family. And if you liked what you saw today, why not consider adding a super thanks to your comment? It's super easy to do, and it all helps grow our channel. I'll be back next week with another Roundup show, but there'll be some more awesome content for you to enjoy throughout the week from myself and the wonderful Kate Walton-Elliott. Until then, enjoy your weekend, and as always, keep evolving.